down to here. Okay. So the other thing about the system, one lift to push strength wise with lowers, one for uppers, and then a work capacity or a driver for the lower, and same thing for the uppers. So right now, since my deadlift is weak and my squat is strong, I'm pushing the squat heavy. It's a lot safer, and then I'm really working on my deadlift technique and my work capacity. Same thing down here. I've got log and I've got dumbbell goals. So these are alternating every block between log and dumbbell. Um, Log is the contest event, so this is just going to kind of stay in a low percentage and really just work on technique, quickness, shorter rest time, all that kind of good shit. Um, so deficit deadlift. That's my leg variation. I've spent these last two blocks, this one I'm in now and this upcoming one, with two favoring, right? So I am going to switch this next one. This one, secondary deadlift, is going to be contest deadlift, which is elevated deadlift. It's kind of like an RDL. It's the same portion of the lift where the hips are a little bit higher. So this is actually, so keep in mind, part of the reason why this is a little slow is I'm figuring out exactly the placement of this too. I have a process in my head of how to do it, but I don't know exactly how it's going to line up yet. I might make some changes, whatever. So the key is I want to change like one thing at a time going from one block to the next, okay? That's why I'm working backwards. That's why I'm kind of lining it up. Boom, primary, secondary, third dairy, whatever you want to call it. Even though it's called secondary, it is still the third priority lift of the lower bodies. This is why first, second, third, and then we have an ISO. I'm sorry, third and fourth. Secondary squat, I guess technically fourth, because the reason I am calling this one second over this is because this is the first, the first exercise of the day, and this goes back to the first of them of the week. So this is third, this is fourth. The reason why that works that way is because on a 4-day split like this, at least for me, I'm going to come off of 2 days of rest. So that first day I'm my most fresh, and that's going to allow me to have the most adaptation towards whatever it is that I'm doing. That's a big reason why I really like to order the days and start way out with my most important one furthest away. Log and dumbbell. I want to go for the dumbbell world record. This ultimately is the ultimate goal of the full long-term year of when I'm thinking of the record breakers at the real clash in April. Right now, this is just for the qualifier in January. But this one, the it's not written here, but the dumbbell is the long term one that goes past this point here. Okay, that's why it's day 4. All right. So already we can just, well, yeah. This one's gonna be. Well, I'm gonna get that. I gotta work backwards because this is gonna be log, log. Pretty much running push press all the way through, and then I'm going to be switching these two back and forth. So let's just set this day up right now. I am going to change the variations slightly, like band tension, probably not bar, but maybe a pause in the hole, slight band tension, minor things that I'll pick based off my heaviest week, and then go into the next one. But it'll all be a push press, a barbell push press from the rack, just staple. So, and here's the thing, we can adjust. So if I get to like here and I'm like, dude, you know what, my log needs more work, then we'll go log here for another block. It doesn't matter. Keep that open mind. So, and then this is going to alternate. So we've got dumbbell thruster and behind the neck strict. And then those are going to alternate. So strict dumbbell. What do I do here? Dumbbell. Why am I being stupid? There we go. So this my overhead press day and system is pretty tried and true. A lot of this other stuff is going to be an experiment and a trial. I already know the overhead press is pretty fucking good. How I've had that set up for a long time is a main movement that we're just working on consistently, a play around movement that is something safe that I can handle heavy weights with relatively, but it's not something that I give a shit about enough, and it's taxing enough that I'm not going to want to be stupid and push it hard. So we've got behind the neck thrusters. I'm going down to a full squat into a snatch grip and pressing just for singles. Just in the amount of times I have to fucking reload the bar and pick it up and put it back in the rack makes me not want to be stupid in the first place. So that alone fixes it right there. And then the dumbbell strict press, the dumbbell thruster, when I switch that, full squat with a circus dumbbell. Are you fucking kidding me? That's going to suck dick. I don't want to do that. So this, at this point, log might be here for right now, just to make things easy. We're gonna continue on as is. So, and then that would automatically put this as push press, and then this would be some sort of strict slot, whatever. It doesn't really matter at that point. I'm just gonna put behind the neck strict just because it's gonna bug me. So honestly, I think, and this is the gap I haven't decided yet. I'm almost thinking that this should be like a barbell RDL out of the rack. And this should continue as deficit. Let me think for a second. Wait. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Contest deadlift here. So then contest deadlift here. And what would go into that? Think about the movement and how similar it is. When I lift the snatch, I'm using all legs, and then right at the top it's kind of an RDL. So maybe let's just go right into snatch RDL. Lift it once, snatch, and then RDL it. I like that. Maybe move my hands slightly closer. You can see how I'm just changing things 1 degree. And then we're going to go to contest deadlift. Or, well, elevated deadlift. I'm not going to use the axle yet. I'm going to use just a stiff bar, but elevated. Maybe even a little lower. But you get the point. Changing it a little bit, 1 degree. Just put contest. I know what that means. I know what that means, and I do light bands. Contest height, barbell, light bands, which means that will be X light bands, and that will be contests deadliftio. And then so then that actually leads us into the translation of the purpose. This is the full range of motion, the activity. This is the reinforcement, the hypertrophy, the endurance, right? Which is the other end of the spectrum of endurance when it comes to hypertrophy or musculature failure and maximum strength, right? So then we translate that into a play around slot, actually. So this is going to be very similar to this slot, and I'll be ready for it by then. I'm not ready for it right now because I got to build that technique. This is really cool. I figured something out that I wanted to. Let me write that down. Oh, fuck it. I'm just gonna. Make a note for myself later. Learn. So what we have here is we skill learn, we translate it into heavier weights, we strengthen it, we use what has been translated, and then we peak it. God damn, I'm fucking smart. Just came up with that. I didn't just come up with that. That principle is like pretty basic, but I just made it cool. Alright. I call it meat and potatoes. I was playing around with this concept the other day. You are seeing some good shit. If you're seeing this. If you're not, then you're not seeing it. You don't know what I'm saying. Fucking idiot. Deficit's going to be my staple. Deficit is going to be my floor deadlift. So that is going to be just kind of my push press of the deadlift, if you will. And I'm going to vary those. It's going to be anywhere from a half inch to an inch and a half. Maybe this last one I'll pull on the floor. Since yep, I'm just gonna keep it like that. No reason to make it complicated. But that actually means, so when this switches over to contest deadlift, this is going to become our box squat, or our squat slot, whatever. I'm just going to call it box squat for right now. Now what I call this is taking the back seat. Our box squat did the majority of the work for getting us stronger, and then it took the back seat and let the deadlift do its thing. We're just going to say box squat. Again, this is my push press variation. This is the one. How can I make this one closest to this? You know what? Since this is for getting stronger, I only want to pick variation based on that hard weekend here and how to make it stronger, stronger, stronger. It's close enough it'll translate itself. I've got enough going on, it'll translate itself. Let's not get wild up in here, okay? Ah! I'm listening to music, by the way, so I'm gonna dance and you can suck it. Alright, so then I've got log these next 2 weeks, so we're gonna go dumbbell. Dumbbell. Oh, hey, I'm so fucking high. Sorry. Log. Last weekend log. That translates up. So that means this is probably push press. Probably gonna go back seat with the dumbbell. Or I have the push press up there. It really depends. It's really hard to make this call. That's one of those ones that's like just completely up in the air and isn't worth putting all that much energy into. So for right now, I'm just gonna put dumbbell just for the sake of fucking off. Oh, same thing here. I mean, this is just to keep the pecs and shoulders healthy. I really like doing accommodated resistance for extra tricep work. So it's just gonna go by kind of what I feel like doing. Reverse band, floor press. I'm just gonna put flat press for right now, and I'm gonna change that based on um, similar, more so just what feels good, both mentally and physically. I want that to be a little bit of a refresher slot. So these next few, the biceps and rear delts are actually important. I want to get some good strength gains here, and I want to translate that properly. So they're gonna get strong here. They're gonna get fast. Okay, so hypertrophy. I want to hit all the energy systems on those uh, little muscle groups, but I don't want to be hitting hard, strong biceps, heavy biceps all the time. That's how you gotta get torn bicep. You do want them strong, but they don't need to be that often. And hitting a good balance of these two is gonna allow that to be healthy. So, really, that's just kind of representation. Just in my mind, I know in hypertrophy, I'm training usually higher rep sets. The weight is irrelevant. I'm really just going for connection advancement and pump advancement. And then I'm taking those weights and I'm translating into strength. So, actually, technically, if I want to do those right, it's going to go like this. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. These are going to go threes. These progressions don't necessarily have to line up together. They can kind of go like this. So blocks can go like that at the lower level. It's kind of nice. It's a good way that you can deload without deloading, take time off without taking time off, practice shit without taking time to practice shit. Yeah, now. So strong is strict reps, always like RPE, sets of like 8 to 12, 3 or 4 sets, working on getting heavier each week. Hypertrophy is the connection shit, going for pump, 3 to 5 sets, push until failure. And then fast is like doing 100 fucking reps total, just here and here, just like full range of motion, but in a faster sense. That works out really good too. Just 2 weeks of fasts. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean this is a bodybuilding movement. Right now I'm on Y raises. As long as I'm isolating my lateral delts, I don't really care. Same thing here. One arm rows, low cable rows, whatever. Eventually, I'm going to have to put in event training for the rest of the show. That'll come in these last 2 to 3 blocks, and I'll adjust that as is. Those will take place of things like, because right now I'm already hitting quite a bit. I'm hitting the deadlift, I'm hitting the carries, I'm hitting the overhead press. So the staples are already in. I think stones might be in the show. I can't remember exactly, but those will be. I'll show you how those will sprinkled in later on, different time. Actually, we'll do it this time. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. This just. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I'm doing so much tricep work elsewhere. I really feel like this should just kind of go by feel and what I feel like doing that day. I've never really had much success with just like, in my opinion, it's really hard for me to find a comfortable movement that I can isolate the tricep for strength, like I can a bicep curl or something. Um, so I think I'm gonna get most of that done in the pressing, and I'm just gonna go by auto regulation on this. So backing up to the deadlift, this is where we're going to prime what I talked about doing here. This is where we're going to prime our hamstrings and glutes into the deadlift. So this is going to go into an RDL actually, because that's going to be what's next here. So this is going to be like Smith RDL or something. I'm just going to put RDL in case I don't know what I'm going to have in Texas. Hopefully everything. The fuck am I listening to? This is totally random 90s playlist. Some of it's awful, some of it's awesome, some of it's okay. This, again, kind of comfort slot similarly to the flat press. I'm going to put it as front squats all the way across right now, just for the sake of things. But if I'm fucked up that day, it's going to be leg press or belt squats. But that's going to be a double leg squatting motion that's, you know, way submaximal. Um, don't really feel the need that this one needs to get all that heavy. It's just really good to have for time under tension, positioning, just kind of generally chip away at. So, I'm going to put that for, I think, so when this squat comes over, then that deficit should come down So in front squats should go up there. So yeah, I'm just gonna put this just across the board here. Oops. God fuck. Yeah, only reasons that'll change if I'm fucked up. The main purpose is quad movement, like I said, with both legs and a squatting movement. Yeah, this is my carries slot all the way through. So this one is gonna go like this. It's gonna be yoke or farmers. I'm gonna go by feel, but it's just gonna alternate. S/S is sprints and stabilize. I'm gonna do like unilateral fucking carries, overhead carries, and sprint work on those off weeks. It's in the same event, so I'm gonna probably end up drilling it. This is because it might change, but this is the general pattern I'm gonna follow for the carries. Yep, so then this will probably go back to GHR. Probably just for the sake of things, since I have. Honestly, we could just alternate them like this. Works out good. Yeah, this is just a horizontal row. Doesn't really matter. Okay, we're looking good. Same here. I mean, this is pretty much gonna stay the same things that might change: conditioning needs, um, event needs. Um, yeah, just kind of, that's just kind of like a nice extra slot for core, small muscle groups that I've missed. Yeah, you get the idea. It's just a quad iso that I want in a step over step movement. Um, I find that it's really helpful for moving events and stuff like that, and just general mobility and health. Um, so for right now, it's gonna stay walking lunges or belt squat, or marches or something like that. Um, but just for the sake of things, we're just gonna put walking lunges. Whoops. The reason I keep this one blocked off is because the next variation going into the next block will end up being decided based on the needs of the previous block. It'll be more dependent on feel week to week and more flexible to change, but it still will be assessed block to block in that manner, as opposed to this slot, which will just generally always know what's going on. It's always going to be based off feel. I wonder if there's a time that it would be appropriate for bent over rows instead of chest supported. I don't think so, because there's so much shit that's back dependent in all of this. I'm thinking maybe. You want to know what? Let's do. Since this is where I'm really going to start hitting events and the back taxing stuff, let's do like RDL. If you can see what I'm doing here, when I have a high hip strict variation, I'm offsetting those. So I have a little bit of hamstring back work. I don't, and then I get into contest deadlifts, do the bent over rows. This is gonna be cool. I like this. And then we're in our event blocks, so we're gonna go back to chest supported for both. Oops. And so these are going to be strength. That one doesn't matter. So, well, not really strength, but like I said, the RP8s, that kind of thing. Not actually fast, but I'm just going to do like a lot. Kind of fast, yeah, fast. Pretty damn good.